if he's always available, as in every time you call, he answers. Every time you text, he there. He never has plans. Every time you text him, what are you doing? He's never doing anything. He not reading a book. He not at the gym. He not at his job. He don't got no side hustles. He's not starting a business. He's not playing basketball with his friends. Nothing. If that's the way that he is, you need to run.
Run. Okay, so that's one of my mutuals. I'm gonna tag the video. Watch it, please. My other mutual sent me that video, and she talks about this kind of stuff too, like red flags. Now, I know that I've been making a lot of videos about marathon runners and men's hobbies and how they will basically financially abuse women and with those things because their selfishness and entitlement comes out with that, where they spend all the family's money on that. They spend all their time on that. They're never home. They literally escape their families. Like, they have so much going on outside the home that they don't want to be around you at all, especially once you have kids, because they hate their kids too. Okay, having said all that, this is the other extreme. Men who are bored, men who have nothing going on. I would argue those men are just as dangerous, if not more so. This was my ex, that abusive ex that I've talked about on here. I remember being horrified when I asked him straight out, when this was in the beginning, and I'm a busy gal. Like, I always keep myself busy because I have so much I want to do. I love life. I have so many things. I don't have time to do all the things that I think are so cool. So it's like what to do first is like sometimes the only thing that I struggle with. And I remember showing up and picking him up at the campground he was living in, because he was living in a van down by the river. I kid you not, with his coworkers. He was literally homeless. This was my homosexual boyfriend. He was sharing a van with these men, and they would trade off who got to drive it. So he was just hanging out at the campground. Well, I was in a bad place, okay? I missed all the red flags. I thought it was just fun. I had no idea I was gonna fall in love, or I didn't fall in love. It was not love, whatever that was. I didn't know I was gonna fall into this man's trap. I just thought it was good fun, whatever. And I remember getting there, and I was like, because we were going to go, I had planned a whole trip for us, right? Because I was like, that's what couples do. They travel and do fun stuff. I had this whole thing planned. And I was like, what have you been doing all day? He was like, thinking about you. I was like, oh, God. Well, I'm definitely not thinking about you. And I was like, and I remember thinking, like, a less healed version of myself would be like, oh, he's just been thinking about me. But at that point, I had at least a little bit of, healing done, where I was like, uh-oh. I remember being like scared by that answer. He's like, what have you been doing? I'm like, oh, well, I was like, went climbing this morning and like I had all this stuff because I'm a busy gal, especially when I'm single. Did whatever I wanted. This man made me his life because he had nothing going on. He was an empty vessel of a person. And this is what's so funny, y'all, is that a lot of times, so like I said, men will like do the opposite with their hobbies and literally just exploit us in that way. This man, I knew it was not healthy for him to have nothing other than us, because then he'd be hyper fixated on me and be obsessed with me. And a lot of my mutuals talk about, you do not want a man who's obsessed with you. That is too much pressure to put on one person. It's not healthy. They have to have a life outside of you. They have to have friends, which is why I wrote this article. If they don't have friends or anything else going on, you will pay a price. But the problem is, a lot of these men prioritize everything but you. So it's like they choose one extreme or the other. You don't want either of these extremes. And by the way, a lot of these men will not actually show this until long into the relationship, which is why I'm like, always be prepared. You can vet as much as you want, but a lot of these men, as soon as you get pregnant, boom, they become a different person. Anyway, I actually found him a banjo teacher. A free banjo teacher, somebody who wanted to actually teach people how to play the banjo, knew the banjo, and like offered her services for free because she thought maybe she'd want to teach. And so, you know what I mean? I'm such a resourceful person, okay? I've been trying to build community for so long that like I love doing like exchanges where I do this and you do that and like that. I love that stuff. This dude was such a loser, and I even found him a free banjo teacher because he had said he wanted to play the banjo. Do you think he ever went to that lesson? No. All he did was sit at my house while I was at work and watch Archer or whatever the hell that show is on Netflix, which ruined my whole algorithm, by the way. He literally just was a bum who did nothing but drink, smoke, leech off of me, and do whatever he wanted because he had no life. These men are dangerous. So the men who are never home and the men who are always home, they will ruin your life. You do not want that. Nobody should be obsessed with you, because if they are, that means that they are empty on the inside. And that also means that you can never fail. And they're basically using you as a drug, using you to avoid themselves. They're not self-actualized human beings whatsoever. They're not working on themselves. They're not doing anything to make themselves a better person, to learn and grow. If they do nothing but date you. And since we know that men are so afraid of dying alone, that they don't invest in their relationships and their community for the most part, that's changing slowly. Not fast enough, but it's changing. Those men who will not change and evolve and actually invest in real friendships instead of like hobby friendships with men, those men will be parasites. They will be soul-sucking vampires, and then you will lose yourself in their drama. Because they have nothing going on, they will suck the life out of you. And if they don't take your life or somehow ruin it in other ways, you will come out of that relationship, if you come out of that relationship, being just as dead on the inside as they were going into it. It isn't worth the risk, y'all. Men not working on themselves will pull you backwards. A man who needs you is a man who's going to destroy you.